Hey guys, welcome to another Random Tuesday. This time I'm bringing you Battlefield Bad Company 2. And I decided to play this game because there's been quite some time since I played it, and I gotta be honest, this was one of the Battlefield games on which I spent the most time on. Even though I'm a Battlefield veteran, I started playing on the 1942 beta. At that time I was so busy playing Counter-Strike on an elite competitive level here in my country that I kinda left out some other fantastic games at that time. And even though I played Battlefield, I didn't, devoted as much time as I wanted to. But anyway, moving on, the reason why I loved Battlefield Bad Company 2 in the first place, even though it wasn't at that time, a true Battlefield experience, it was really innovative, and it was really similar to Counter-Strike. Oh, and this is one of the things I didn't miss about Battlefield Bad Company 2. The netcode is an absolute garbage, and it was never fixed. This is definitely the game that has the worst netcode in the whole history of first-person shooters. I have never played anything like this. And I remember that it turned the game into a really frustrating experience sometimes. But anyway, moving on, it's still not as bad as Battlefield 3, because on Battlefield 3 you die so fast, the time to kill is so fast, that you keep getting killed behind walls and behind cover and instantly killed and yada yada yada. And it doesn't happen as much in this game because the time to kill is higher. You actually have to take more bullets to the face in order to get killed, which is actually a good thing about Battlefield Bad Company 2. The time to kill is actually skill based. The headshots are really rewarded. Speaking of headshots, there's some little small detail about this game that completely makes it much more skill-based, in my opinion. The fact that you can actually understand when you shoot an enemy in the head. Like the sound it makes, it looks like you hit them with a pen in the face, you know, like pow. And when you hear that sound, you know that you just headshot that guy, and that is he's low on health, you know. And the same thing happens to you as well. If you're getting, fired upon and you hear that noise, holy shit, I just got hit in the head, I gotta go and hide in cover. It turns the game into a completely different experience. The sound is amazing. The way this game sounds, it's much more clearer, and better, much more intense than Battlefield 3. It's actually insane the amount of immersion I had just because there was no supernova sun, there was no blur. The sound was actually really good. I mean, the way that your character holds the weapon and the way he fires the weapon, the animation system overall, the way it looks, the way the screen shakes when you're running, I mean, it adds up to a really immersive effect. You actually feel like the weapon is heavy, that it's not an easy thing to carry, and that really adds up for the immersion effect. The voiceovers are awesome. You actually hear Russian, the sound is just amazing. It all adds up to a really great immersive experience, something that I missed and that I don't feel the same for Battlefield 3, not at all. Now, this game also has a much better minimap. It's much more clearer, and the fact that the enemies don't show up automatically on the minimap every time they shoot an unsuppressed weapon really adds up for a more rewarding gameplay. It's much more tactical and skill based because you don't have the minimap telling you where they are all the time, you actually have to listen to the game. You actually have to pay attention to what's happening around you. You don't have like this square on the bottom left corner of your screen telling shoot this or shoot that all the time, It's completely, it's game changer, to be honest. Also, this game has some really fantastic things. The level design is just superb. If you compare this to Battlefield 3 maps, the supposedly true successor for Battlefield 2, if you compare the maps, these maps are actually much more open and wider than most of the infantry maps for Battlefield 3, and those maps support 64 players. Okay, so it's really frustrating to see a game that only supports 32 players to have bigger and more and maps that offer more options than of a game that has 64 players, and supposedly it's a true successor for Battlefield 2. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So Battlefield Bad Company 2 had a lot of things that I enjoyed. Even this, for example, when you lost or when you won the round, this animation on which you could still type to everyone and say like good game or fuck your dog or something like that. I don't know. The fact that you can interact with everyone when the round ends, it's just amazing. It's really cool. It's just a small detail, but it adds up for the overall, you know, more better and far complete experience that Battlefield Bad Company 2 offers compared to Battlefield 3, for example. But this game also has one more thing that I love about this game is the fact that you can actually there's no vaulting animations, so if you want to get over an object, or if you want to go on top of a building, you actually have to do it yourself without the help of an automatic animation that puts you on top of something and teleports you and makes you immortal in the process. You know, it's pure garbage. Now, when I remember that with this game, I was so used to it that I managed to sneak to places that actually made the difference, and you really needed to be skilled in order to actually do that. So it really reminded me of both Counter-Strike and Quake in that regard. The movement speed, the versatility and the freedom you have while moving around, it's just amazing. But this game also had stuff that I didn't like. Of course, this game was also deeply flawed in my opinion. For example, the netcode was a huge mess. Battlefield 3 is still a mess. It's not better nor worse, they're both bad. But I mean, the class balance was really not the best. I mean, we all know that Medic was like the Rambo Jesus. It had the ability to heal himself, to make everyone immortal because of the spawning vulnerability or reviving vulnerability, and it had the best weapons. The fact that you could also blast away ABCOMs from your out of bounds and, you know, destroying the enemy objective without they ever having the opportunity to do something about it, it's really game breaking. But overall, this game, and the fact that you can't move forward while pressing W and push D or A, you know, to strafe, to sidestep while sprinting, really hurts the gameplay as well. But overall, this is a really great game and has some lot of good things that I wish that Battlefield would, you know, have used as well. I mean, one can only hope. Let's just wait for Battlefield 4. Anyway, guys, I enjoyed playing this game once again. I hope you enjoyed this episode as well. Don't forget to leave that thumbs up if you did like the video, because it really helps. Cheers.